dancer with no shoes upon my feet, to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly every heart would understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? When we stand together, it's our final sound. We can do anything, anything. Keep believing in your power. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Yes, I do. Love can build a bridge. Only love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? 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 Love and only love. Don't you think it's
So today our service is going to be a little different, I guess, such as having me talk. But it's different because it's going to be participatory. You know what it's like to sit and listen to something and sort of take it in and understand it. It's a whole different thing when your body's involved, because your body has its own intelligence. And it, with your mind combined, allows you to have a deeper experience of the lesson to be made. So that's what ritual allows you to do. Ritual allows your body to be connected in physically to bring the message home even deeper. So we're having a burning bowl, which will be out in the breezeway after the service is over. And you've been given joss paper. Does everybody have joss paper? Joss paper, isn't this the coolest stuff? This is bamboo, and it's used in Chinese deity worship, and it's burned generally in order to release the past and create a greater future. And so today, at one point during the service, I'm going to ask you to take your joss paper and write one word on the paper that will exemplify the experience that you're ready to forgive today. And that could be a person, a place, an event, yourself, whatever it's going to be. And I'll direct you about that later on, but that's what we'll be doing. And then we'll file out together during the last song to the breezeway, and we'll drop these into the flame of forgiveness. All right? Come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. It doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, even if you've broken your vow 1,000 times. Come, yet again. Come. Our theme this month has been forgiveness and loving kindness. And I wanted to make sure that I thanked everybody here who is making our message today a collective experience. And that's our wonderful CSL band, as well as Beverly and Lisa and Patrick and Jillian and Donald are a part of the consciousness that we hope to bring today to focus on forgiveness. What kind of God would he be if he did not hear the bangles ring on the ants' wrist as they move the earth in their sweet dance? And what kind of God would he be if a leaf's prayer was not as precious to creation as the prayer his own Son sang from the glorious depth of his soul for us? And what kind of God would he be if the vote of millions in this world could sway him to change the divine law of love that speaks so clearly with compassion's elegant tongue, saying, eternally saying, all are forgiven. Moreover, dears, no one has ever been guilty. Eternally forgiven. What a concept. To know that Spirit is forever pressing goodness into our experience through forgiveness, ongoing. It is the nature of Spirit itself to be forgiveness. It does not know how not to be forgiving. So why do we find it so hard to do ourselves, to forgive someone else, let alone forgive ourselves? So think of it this way. Forgiveness is relinquishment. That means relinquishing something is to release the power it has over us. So if I forgive someone, that means that event that I'm forgiving doesn't have power over me anymore in my relationship with that person, and I can choose to be different with that person because I've disarmed the situation through forgiveness. So relinquishment is disarmament. So let's look at ourselves today as forgivers to begin with. We all have events and people in our lives that have harmed us in some ways, emotionally or spiritually or physically. And my own story is not uncommon. But when I was small, and this is going to be hard to believe, I was a ball of energy. And I was, creative, and I was energetic, and I was happy, and I was a bundle of meanness, And that was a problem for my mom. Because her life was set up in such a way that she needed things to be in a certain way in order for her to feel safe. And this was her stuff that she flowed into her motherhood. And so you can imagine the kind of relationship that we had. First of all, keeping me under control was a prime directive. So her controlling and me being weren't fitting together. So that control turned into discipline and harder discipline and more discipline and turned into abuse to some level. So I can remember, even as a small kid, saying these words when something was happening to me physically. This is not right. This is not right. Because I knew that's where love should have been. If she was going to withhold love from me, I certainly was going to withhold love from her. And I learned that at a very young age, and I became skillful at that. Over years and years. And there were years that we never even spoke. And I was so justified, I tell you, in my victimization and my indignancy. And I have every right to keep her out of my life. Fast forward to today. Next month she'll be 93. And she lives with vascular dementia. She has no past. She has no tomorrow. She only has today. So why would I want to drag the past wounds of tomorrow into today when she doesn't even remember them or have any knowing of them? And what's wonderful, and the biggest blessing is somehow her brain clicks in a way whenever I walk in and my husband Rod and I come in, out of everybody that she knows, she recognizes us. And she gets so excited because she knows we are going to bring her love and care and affection. Just as was needed for a small child as I was, she needs that now. It's great to be with her because she's in the moment. So I get to be in the moment. And what I discover in the moment, I discover the livingness of love within me. And we have a great time together. We read children's books. I take her around in her wheelchair outside. For some reason, she knows the lyrics to every old song in the world. That's again how her brain works. So why would I continue to want to drag the hurts of the past into the present when it would have no meaning for her? But it has deep meaning for me because I'm freeing myself and forgiving her. How could I not forgive my abuser? Forgiving is not a spiritual thing to do. It's the only thing to do because it points us directly to love and the livingness of love within us. So with me and my mom, love has a place to show up. And I tell you, it's so much better, it feels so much better than the resentment and the hurt and the harm and the past that no longer serves any of us. And I always question myself, well, who's the forgiver and who's the forgiven? And who's the healer and who's healed? Forgiveness sets us both free. And forgiveness reminds us of who we truly are. Spirit and body. Walking through this world in a way where love leads the way. And that way we get to walk in the world as holy, holy people. I have learned that the person I have to ask for forgiveness from the most is myself. You must love yourself. You have to forgive yourself every day whenever you remember a shortcoming or a flaw. You have to tell yourself, hey, that's just fine. That's just fine. You have to forgive yourself so much until you don't even see those things anymore, because that's what love is like. That's Joyce Seabell. Forgiving someone else is one thing, but forgiving ourselves is another thing altogether, because we have this lovely, I don't think you do, but I do. I have this lovely committee in my head that loves to remind me of my past, that loves to put obstacles in the way of my self-forgiveness, that loves to chatter and chatter and chatter about and diminish my ability to step into self-forgiveness. That doesn't happen to you, does it? No. I love it when it says, what you did, it was so bad that they'll never forget you, and you'll absolutely never be able to forgive yourself. So when putting my thoughts down about what I was going to say today, two instances came up in my past. And whenever I think of them, I get this little twang, a twitch, a reflex, ooh. And what I realize is that in that moment, when I think of that incident, I'm re-wounding myself. I'm re-wounding myself. So what I found is self-forgiveness disarms that physical reaction. But I have to step into self-forgiveness in order for that disarmament to happen. And by the way, that twitch is called regret. Self-forgiveness doesn't erase our accountability. It doesn't get us off the hook. It doesn't, as I love to say, get my fingerprints are not wiped off the situation. Oh yeah, your fingerprints will always be there. As Desmond Tutu said in the book that we've been reading all month long, the book of Forgiving, forgiveness is simply about understanding that every one of us is both inherently good and inherently flawed. Within every hopeless situation and every seemingly hopeless person lies the possibility of transformation. And transformation simply means being freed from the past. We can't change the past, but we have to go back to the pain of the past in order for us to arrive today at the joy and the freedom through forgiveness that we can experience. The ghost of Jacob Marley from Dickens' A Christmas Carol, or our own Scrooge, is the best example that comes to mind. He's chained. You remember? He is chained, and he walks and makes these big clunking sounds as he moves towards Ebenezer Scrooge, and he's weighted down by these chains, and he says, I wear the chains I forged in life. Link by link, yard by yard. I am chained with keys and cash boxes and ledgers. Oh, witness the weighted length of the chain you bear yourself, Scrooge. It is a ponderous chain. So we have that same experience ourselves. We have these links of regret and unforgivingness that we continue to carry through life, that continue to weigh us down in our forward movement of growth and understanding and well-being. Links of our own personal chains that we have an opportunity through self-forgiveness to look at and forgive. In that transformation, what happens is that we get more of our life back. Do you know what a zero-gravity chair is? Have you heard of that before? They're a new thing they have out now. It's like a recliner, but when it gets into the reclining place, every portion of your body is completely supported, so it feels like zero gravity. They're amazing. Well, what that really is that sense of zero gravity is what we call, or I call, stasis, when everything is in balance. And with unforgiveness for ourselves, things are out of balance. And our sweet soul is forever yearning to get back to stasis, to its best well-being. And so what we need to do is step into self-forgiveness in order for that zero balance to come into play once again, where we feel completely supported by the world and by life. And we do that by being in tandem with the one mind, and the one mind cannot help but propel us towards self-forgiveness. When we return to love for ourselves, we can forgive ourselves. If anything matters, then everything matters. Because everyone is important. And everything they do is important. Every time we forgive, the universe changes. Every time we reach out and touch a heart or a life, the world changes. And with every kindness and service, seen or unseen, our purposes are accomplished, and nothing through forgiveness will be the same again. Young people, people gathering, people being together, people dancing, people interacting, people feeling safe to be who they are. Young and old and Latino and black and tan and lesbian and bisexual and transgender and gay and straight, and a dance floor of humanity. And since then, more compassion and more hatred, more consideration, more homophobia, more love, more fear. A political bombshell. ISIS, guns, political leaders speaking. More of us and them, more of us and them, more of us and them. And as a gay kid, and for most LGBT people my age or younger, you have to know that when I was growing up, I lived my entire life looking over my shoulder. Who was going to say the next unkind word? Who was going to bully me? Who was going to harm me in some way? Looking over my shoulder. And the secrets I had to keep, the secrets we keep in order to have a job, in order to live where we wanted to live, in order to love who we wanted to love, in order to go to the churches that we wanted to. And I stacked up a pile of people who made it tough on me. I carried them around. Now Orlando, the ultimate fear realized, being killed for who you are. Unforgivable? Orlando is a call to action, a call for every one of us here, a call to raise our voices, a call for our message to be heard, a call for each person here. We must act. We must be heard. We must use our greatest weapons. We're obligated to do so. We must call for forgiveness. We must call for love. We have to use the principles we say we believe in. We have to use the philosophy we say that gives us tools and ways of being in the world that our teachers point to. We have to do it. We can't kind of, sort of, maybe do it. We've got to do it fully. We cannot allow a wave of separation to go before us. The wave of love goes before us. The wave of forgiveness goes before us. The wave of no more us and them, but the wave of we and one. We must forgive the one holding the gun. When I was in high school, my worst bully was the football captain. And he enjoyed and relished our time together. So he would do his very best to hurt me and to insult me and to make me ashamed of who I was. And his name for today is Matt. So fast forward 10 years after high school, and I'm working as a professional actor, having a great life, very visible in Seattle, working at major places, having a great life. And I'm downtown shopping one day, and I hear this voice, "Hey, Michael." And I look around, this really handsome guy is running over towards me, and the model looks, great clothes, great build, running and running. I said, that's vaguely some familiar person. Running over and gives me this big bear hug, like the best friend in the world, and goes, "Hello, how are you?" It's Matt. What the? Really? What? How are, I wanted to tell you, I saw you in the show and I thought you were wonderful. I just wanted to let you know, I'm so glad I see you. Okay. So what do you do now? And he said, I'm a photographer. I said, really? He said, yeah, I'm shooting Nordstrom's catalog right now. Real humble way of talking about it. And I said, well, that's great. And he said, here's my card. I have to get to work right now, but I'd love to see you again. And hey, would you like to come do a shoot? And I said, sure, I'd love that. I'd love that. So I called him, and about a week later, I show up at a shoot. It's wonderful to be in the atmosphere he created. You walk in, and he is kind and gentle and giving to everyone to get the best out of them. He's being thoughtful. His smile fills the studio. And I'm standing in the back of the studio watching him skillfully do his wonderful, heartfelt work. And I forgave him. I simply forgave him. And when I left that day, I know that our hug was a lot longer than the first one we had. So now, this is your opportunity to forgive the Matts, the moms, the shooters, the bullies, the self-doubt. This is your moment today to step into forgiveness. So take your paper out and your pens. I'll do a brief meditation. And then I'll ask you to write down one word that typifies what you're ready today to forgive. You don't need to put the whole story on there. I tell you, Spirit knows all the characters. So let's just close our eyes right now. And surrender. And relinquish anything that stands in our way of being fully present in our heart. In that place within us where we are as close to Spirit as we can be. That place where our breath, our heartbeat, our very essence is in tandem with Spirit. So from this place of connection, simply surrender and open and shatter the noise in your head with silence. And from this place of safety and connection, allow your mind to answer this one simple question. Who or what am I ready to forgive right now? In this moment. To forgive and release. And simply write down that one word that links you to that. And after you've written that down, just simply close your eyes and continue to be held in the moment, in the energetic presence of Spirit. And now let's just all open our eyes and become present and be aware of the satisfaction and the freedom of forgiving. And after the service is over, while we're singing our final song, I would like to invite you to have two lines going out the doorway, out to the breezeway. And the burning bowl will be there. And you can drop your paper into that bowl, releasing it, letting forgiveness be something that indwells in you today, and let it continue to be a part of your practice, the best part of your practice, knowing that forgiveness and love will be the bridge to one another.